What's up? This is Richie from the Where We Wild YouTube channel, and today I'm going to show you how to tie up your very own feathered treble hook. Let's get into it, man. All right, let's tie up a treble hook, shall we? So this vise here, pretty good for the money, man. I'll link it in the video description. I got it on Amazon pretty cheap. Works pretty well. I'm going to take a size 4 ST36 treble, and I'm going to just kind of lock it into place. And when you do it, you just want to be mindful that the hook is nice and tight in there, but you don't crush your barb. You want to stay away from the barb of the hook. It's a balance between locking the hook in place nice and secure so you can work, and also not squeezing the heck out of it where you damage it. So to start out here, we're going to take our little bobbin tool, and I'm just going to use I'll use some red thread. Here, I could use some white thread, really make this thing blend in a little bit. But I guess we'll go with the red. It's a good color to use when you're using this. Fish like that red color. And to start out, I'm just gonna put a couple wraps on the top of this hook here, just to get it going. And then I can trim off that little tag there, and it will be secure. All right, so I'm gonna use a little bit of this flash here to start. I'm gonna do flash with some white feathers, I suppose. Just 2 pieces here, just lay it on there. And I like to do the flash first. So I'm just gonna get my distance. And you could just lay it out and trim it later, but kind of like to figure out what kind of distance and what kind of length I want right from the get-go. But it's pretty simple, man. You just lay it on there. Couple wraps. Now you can double it up if you want here. Pull back on it. My bobbin's a little loose. You kind of want to keep it pretty short. You don't want a huge thing to work with here. You want to keep it pretty tight on the hook. Couple more wraps there. That'll work. And then I'm just gonna kind of trim it to the distance I have on the others. I can add a little more on the other side too if I like, but that'll work. Now right on top of that, I already kind of pre-trimmed my feathers. When you take them from the big bag of feathers that you're gonna have, you know, most of the feathers not usable. It's really just the very tip of the feathers that you're gonna be using. And so you just wanna find them that are as pretty as possible, you know, that look straight, and then you just rip off a little bit of the bottom here. So you got some area to work with. Just like that. And you just lay that bad boy right on. And a lot of times it'll twist on you. But you just want to try to keep them as straight as you can. Now I'm just going to do like 1 or 2 or 3 wraps. And then I'm going to take this top part here. I'm going to bend it back. Ooh, with my hook. That's not cool. I'm going to bend this back and just do a couple more wraps just like that. And that really locks that into place for you. That way it can't slip out when the fish hits it, you know? Kind of turned on me a little bit, but that's all right. For the purposes of this video, I think we'll be all right with that. Just trying to get that end here. Flash is kind of in my way. You need some good vision and some patience to do this, that's for sure. There we go, now I got it. And I'm just gonna trim that little tag, just like that. My vise doesn't seem to want to lock this hook in today. And I'm just gonna make a couple more wraps. Knock that little piece down. Here comes a delivery outside, if you heard that. That's nice. Then I might lay one more. I'm just trying to measure, keep the length similar. See how that loves to turn on you. Just want to keep it straight. Whatever, dude. That actually looks kind of cool that it turned on me a little. I don't like that my hook is moving around like this, sir. It's kind of annoying me. I have to tighten up this. I just wanted to turn this hook. So I'm just gonna turn it a little bit. Get it on the other side here. Get that down into place a little bit. Now I could lay a little bit more flash. I do have it, because I cut off that other side, and there's some left, so I'm just gonna measure out the length of that other stuff, which I can always trim if I want. And it's not really necessary. I think that's probably enough flash in there, but since I have this left over, I'll just smack a little bit more on, because it is cool. Cool. Couple more feathers on this side. And it's really up to you, man, how you want to do it. Do you want to do one on every single side? Do you just want to do it on two sides? How much flash you want? Maybe you don't want any flash. Maybe you want chartreuse feathers. Maybe you want red feathers. Maybe you want white thread and white feathers. You can do it so many different ways, man. That's what's cool about it. Pretty much do whatever you like, sir. This one's a little short. And I'm basically just ripping the sides off here, so it gives me more and more of a little bit of a leader, if you will. The hardest part I find is keeping the feathers from twisting on you. I haven't really quite perfected that. But the one thing I do know is I like to have the feathers pointing out. So like you can see how this has a little bit of a bend to it, and this would be pointing down. Like if I laid it on here, the feather's gonna be pointing down. But I like them to point up. Someone just really wants to turn on me, boy. So it's just really turning. Bend that down, a couple more little wraps. Whew. All right, looks pretty good. Now I'm debating whether I wanna, let's clean that up just a little bit there, some of that white. Just a couple wraps, it's nice. And I could lay one more in there, or I could go to that other side of the hook right there. See where this is empty? I'm just gonna clamp this one on here. And that's really how I like to do it, by the way. I like to just hit every side of that hook and give it something. So this side, we got plenty of flash in there. So this side, I'm just gonna load up with a couple feathers and we should be all good now. You see how this thing's cupped up, just pointing up. Do one there. I really don't like when they turn on me. That kind of drives me nuts, I must say. Need some patience, boy. Tell you. All right, that's good enough. I really would have loved to have gotten that just a little bit straighter, but what are you gonna do? These feathers, man, they're just natural, you know, so come on. There it is. You just gotta kind of do what they want to do. Let's see if I can slap one more on here on this side. You gotta watch not to hit the hook points with your thread. And the more you do of these, you know, the better you're gonna get at them. Get into like a little groove. All right, that's cool. So now I'm just gonna start coloring all this in with all the red. Try to get rid of all the white. You don't want too thick, because then you're just gonna make your hook all like weird shaped and gaudy looking and heavier, but just want to try to get a nice wrap, nice and tight, and try to get rid of all that white that's showing. Looks good. All right, I'll buy that. Thicken up the top just a little bit here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we're gonna take our whip finishing tool, which always kind of confuses the heck out of me, I'll be honest with you. I haven't really mastered it, but basically, you're just gonna hook the back, hook the front. And it's hard because your finger slips off. And you just pull your thread across and kind of make that shape right there, like an 8. And then you're just gonna run it over the hook 4 or 5 times, something like that. Take it off that, bring it down, and unhook it there, and that kind of locks it into place. Now I did that a little too high on the hook, so I'm just gonna color this in really fast and do that one more time. Just so you can see it. So it's clear in there, so I hook it to the back or the front. You could always do that first, whatever way is easier for you. And you just kind of, oh, it slips off so easy, man. It slips off so easy. Guys that do a lot of fly tying are probably like, come on, bro, it's easy. But, so, just wrap it around. Maybe like 4 or 5 times. Pull off the end here. And I keep tension the whole time on the other side, obviously. And just slide that out. And ready to rock and roll. All right, so now I'm just gonna cut off my thread here. Having those little sharp scissors is huge. I will link the kit that I bought with all the fly tying tools in the video description, along with everything else, the thread, everything, vise, all that stuff. All right, man, so we're looking pretty good. This thing's pretty nice looking, I must say. But now we got to just kind of finish it up, with a little bit of either super glue you could use. You could use some resin, UV resin. What I like to do is I'll put a tiny little, just tiny, right where my knot was. I'll take the tiniest little drop of super glue right on the top there. That's literally all I use, the tiniest little drop. And then I'll just kind of rotate it around. Just take like an old little brush or something you don't care about. And I'll just make sure I just kind of spread it nice. And then once that dries, I will try to speed up that process a little bit. I'll link this in the video description as well. This little tool is nice. I don't even know if you need the super glue or if you could just move on to this next step I do, but I just like to put that little tiny little drop of super glue on the top there. But after that, I like this clear nail polish, man. Works really well. I'll link that too in the video description, just Sally Hansen clear. And I'll just take a tiny little bit of that. And this makes it look really nice, dude. And it basically does the same job as super glue. I just like to have that little extra strength on the top, but I just put a tiny little bit right along that thread there. Nothing too much because you don't want it to like make a huge ball on you. And this is where that vise spinning for you is really nice, because it's like when you like try to epoxy something, you can just like keep it rotating. But this just puts that nice little gel coating look on there. It turns it that dark red, and it just secures it. It makes it look like super professional. That's all it is right there, dude. You don't want too much, but just enough. That's probably good right there. Let that soak in. That's looking pretty good right there, boy. Yeah. I'll buy that. That looks really nice. I'm just gonna sit this back down in my vise just to let it dry a little bit. But that looks pretty darn good, man. I must say, not so bad. So, you know, it takes a little time, but it's not so bad. You could always trim off anything you don't like about it, but that looks pretty sweet right there. A little bit of flash, nice professional looking thread, nice and shiny, should last a really long time. Just gotta let that dry. That's sweet, dude. I like it. Very nice. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're into this sort of thing, don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Later. If you want to see more videos just like this one, be sure to check out the rest of the Where We Wild YouTube channel, where we post a brand new video every week. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever we post a new adventure. Thanks for watching. See ya.